Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to GalArtic for those that may be new here today. I'm just going to talk a little bit about this, what can I say, this powerful creation, Merlin's power, that has been my most recent artistic project, shall we say, energetic and multidimensional. So welcome to those that are new here today. My name is Kerry. I'm just shoving my chair in and getting comfortable, and I am the creator of GalArtic. So I'm going to talk you through this process. You'll probably see on the screen just now the whole process of how this painting was created. And what can I say? It's been an absolute journey of creating Merlin. These paintings take a lot of my time and a lot of my energy, a lot of research, a lot of energetic downloads, dream time. I can't begin to really talk about the process, but I'm gonna have to, am I? So, as you can see, I draw all the geometry on this painting by hand. And that in itself takes a process. So, the geometric pattern that you're seeing here took about 12 hours to do. And the geometric pattern is something that I pull in from my energy fields, my soul, but also a connection with Merlin. So Merlin has been presenting himself energetically to me for the past month. And that in itself has been an experience working with Merlin and learning all that there is to know about Merlin. What can I say about Merlin? At first, when I connected with him, he was certainly a very serious man that meant very serious business. And he really kept me on my toes throughout this whole process. And he guided me into the geometry to be used on this painting, as well as encouraged me to keep going, because there was many a time I had a lot of self-doubt with regards to this painting, because this is something I have never done before, especially with the geometric pattern. I have never ever done Celtic geometry ever, and from what I found, there wasn't a lot of information out there that shows you how to do these Celtic geometric patterns. So I was guided to include the flower of life, as you can see there. That's me drawing the flower of life. So there's about 3 flower of lives, but there's a huge flower of life. And information came through, funnily enough. My dad, he had showed me a Celtic cross, and Merlin came forward and said to me that that was to be used in the painting. Now, I had no clue as to why that had been used in the painting, and had to be used in the painting. And when I get this information, or should I say, information with regards to the geometric pattern doesn't really come through until I am beginning the process of painting, or thinking about beginning the project, which I find fascinating. Whenever I tuned in and asked a week before, Merlin was very adamant that I wasn't to know what was to come until I was ready to go into the studio and create. With regards to the Celtic cross, there is absolutely no information out there as to how to draw one. Not that I could find anyway. So I had to intuitively feel into that as to how to do this. And it was guided to me to work from a flower of life, hence why there's a huge flower of life on here, and to figure it out just by looking at the picture and drawing the geometry from that onto the flower of life. And that in itself was a huge challenge that I was very much in doubt if I could do or not, because it's something that hadn't been done. However, I had faith, I had trust and belief within Merlin and myself that I could actually do this. So here I am drawing the Celtic knot on to the Celtic cross. And that was quite easy, actually. It looks complicated to draw, however, it isn't. It's one of the easier geometric patterns that I've drawn since GalArtic. So I was grateful that I could whiz through the geometry of the Celtic knot. But I'm very particular when I do my geometry. Very particular. And I'll rub out and rub out and rub out until I get it the first time. So the flower of life that I did, the big one where the Celtic cross is, I had to do twice. And that was, it can be very frustrating when you're doing that. So what can I say about the geometric pattern? So the information was given to me by Merlin that there had to be a Celtic cross on there for reasons I'll discuss later through this process. And the Celtic knot was also shown to me. So what he does, or what he did, was in my third eye, I could see the geometric pattern that needed to be created within the canvas. And that was given to me the day before I was going into the studio to start this painting. And I have a doodle pad, so I doodled the geometry in the doodle pad, and then what comes forward, that's the finished drawing of the geometry. What comes forward is the crystals to use, which you'll see here. There's a crystallization process. So I pull all together the crystals. I then cleanse them with my Healy before I crush them by hand. And I have to wear a protective mask for that, obviously, because it's not recommended you crush crystals without protective gear, because if you inhale that crystal dust, it's not going to bode very well within your physicality, obviously. So I have to go outside to crush the crystals because I don't have a ventilation system with my special mask that makes me look a little bit like a mini Darth Vader. So my neighbours, let's just say, love to have a wee nosy about their garden when I'm doing this process, because they obviously find it quite amusing me walking about with this mask on, but it's totally worth it in the end. And to be honest, I don't really care what anybody thinks. That's just where I'm at on a consciousness level. I am who I am. I have a mission and a purpose here on planet Earth, shall we say. So that's my main focus, is to get the job done. So when I crush the crystals, some of you may know that I also put a frequency into the crystals with my Healy device. So I put the frequencies of the gold module on the Healy, which was pure to cleanse the crystals, release. So there's a frequency of release. So when you look at the geometry or the geometric pattern, or if you're in the painting's presence itself, there will be some sort of energetic release that will come into the field if you're ready for that. What's been really interesting is I've had many a beautiful soul around this painting once it's been created, and the feedback in the information I have received, whether it's been in its presence, looking at the geometry, or looking at the finalised painting, has blown me away. Oh, there's my little hornet friend. He came to visit when I was crystallizing. So I had a wee conversation with him during the process, and I gave him an option to leave the canvas because I was in a state of I'm not stopping until this is complete. So if you want to hop in the resin and remain on the painting, then that's your call. If I were you, I would buzz off. So I'm glad he chose the latter and buzzed off. So the crystallization process, the Celtic cross alone took about 12 hours to crystallize. And I use my fire energy, so a lot of energy within the Healy device and my own energetic fire energy that I pull in from the energy field and push out through my fire finger activates the crystals. And it's a time-consuming process. It took an average of, I would say, 18 hours to crystallize this whole canvas. A lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of energy. So once I had finished the crystallization, I was rather tired, so I needed to take a day off in between the crystallization and the painting of the canvas, and I had to really rest. Merlin's orders, he would pop in and say, you're resting today, you're doing nothing today, and I have to listen to that because when I do these paintings, I'm in full service mode. There's no doubt about it that my focus at that moment in time whilst creating is these paintings, because I know what they do energetically. So for those that don't maybe know this process, geometry holds a frequency and a vibration, and adding the crystals on top of that creates a further elevation of that vibration. Now when you look at that geometry, it does something to your energy field. So it can activate DNA, it can clear energy, it can enhance third eye, crown chakras, your upper chakras. It can promote healing within the energy field throughout incarnations, throughout all space, time and dimension, multi-dimensions. It's absolutely phenomenal. And the more that I do these paintings, the more that I'm beginning to fully understand the power that comes from them. When I first started GalArtic and started getting these geometric patterns within my field, there was not a full understanding, shall we say, as to what actually occurs when I put these geometric patterns together. Now, I connect these geometric patterns, so there's an energy flow that goes throughout the whole painting. Because it's connected and it emits a high frequency. Now, I couldn't tell you what high frequency. I was meant to use the dowsing chart to share. However, that may come within time, actually. The next painting, the next project, I shall use a dowsing chart, but I have no doubt in my mind that this is a very high frequency painting. And especially when I was working with the painting, I was certainly feeling emotions doing this painting. I was integrating, I was processing, transmuting. Just the day before I actually went into the studio. And what happens is I feel what this painting can do, so I can talk about it and share with everyone what could possibly happen if you are ready to receive when you watch this process. So There's a reason why this geometry was used, and it's in connection to the Syrian aspect, the multidimensional aspect of Syrian. And it's very much connected to the Arthurian period of time with regards to King Arthur, Lady of the Lake, Camelot, Guinevere, and what was shared with me with Merlin, and also the King of the Fae, the fairyland, the elementals, was that with this painting, there would be a dimensional portal that would be opening. And for those that chose to go into that frequency, shall we say, there's no quinky dink that this had to be done for the 1010 portal. There would be a healing process. So what the King of the Fae explained to me in Dreamtime was that those of the Fae lineage, if they chose to receive and were ready to receive, there would be a form of healing through space, time and dimension with regards to this painting. Now, I had been doing research for another project that I was working on, and Merlin kept appearing, and it's very much in connection, I feel, with the Spine of Albion. So the Spine of Albion is the heart of the UK. It's a ley line within the UK that runs from the south of England, really begins in the Isle of Wight and goes right up to the top of Scotland. And there's many power points within this ley line, and there's lots of energy within this ley line. And it's very much connected to this painting. So it's almost like this painting is bridging a healing aspect with regards to the energies, the multidimensionals, and also the history. Now, who really knows what happened back in the day? But what I believe is, instead of reading from books, because everybody has their own perspective, I like to go in intuitively and feel that space and feel what information is coming through, whether I understand it or not. So I find it really interesting that Dreamtime was presenting a lot of information to me. So there's a fae element with regards to this painting, but also a healing element with regards to King Arthur also within this painting, and the love triangle of King Arthur and Guinevere. I believe that we have many aspects of self, fractals of self, through all our lifetimes here. And I believe that there's many different versions of us throughout all space, time and dimension. So it's almost like if there's some sort of trauma or grief or process that's finished, crystallization, that needed to be healed, that was still residual in your lifetime here, that would bring up some emotion. So I started this painting on a Saturday, and the Friday before the painting, I was really emotional for the whole day. I had no reason as to why, because I had nothing to cry about. However, I find it really quite emotional. And what was very interesting also, when I was going through these emotions, it was almost like I was getting a very bad stabbing pain within my solar plexus, my stomach. And it almost felt like there was a sword going through my solar plexus the day before, and there was not much that I could do. I had to rest, process and feel it all and release it all. So for those that may watch this, please be aware that if you are ready for that healing, that aspect, that Syrian aspect, that Avalon aspect, that King Arthur, that Merlin, that Lady of the Lake, whatever is resonant with you. Okay, so we've done the selenite layer, now we're doing the background. Whatever's resonant with you, and you're ready for it, you may feel these energies within your field. If you do, what I will say is just to feel it and allow it to process through you. Because after said emotion and healing and transmutation, I felt really quite elevated in vibration. I felt like my frequency was in a high vibration, and I felt like I had to go through that in order to do this painting. It was almost like I got this upgrade to do. So if you do feel anything from this painting, I would be really interested to hear what you felt within the comments, because they help me in creating further paintings and understanding these paintings more. I just find it absolutely fascinating watching the whole process. Now, doing this background, I didn't know what the background was going to look like. Again, intuitively fell into it. I was guided as to which colours to use, and how that was going to look. So I'm painting this background here. I have no idea how it was going to look. I just knew I had to paint it this way, and I had to paint it with certain colours. And I was taken aback when I had finished painting this background, because it reminded me of a very fiery sunset, as you can see. And the technique here was just something I was intuitively guided to use as well. I have never painted a background in my life that resembled a fiery sunset. So it's not as if I had been trained or knew how to do this. I just had to intuitively feel into that and create. And it blows my absolute mind every time I do this, because I don't go in with, this is what this is going to look like. I have an idea, but I just have to go with the flow. I can't think. I can project. I just have to live in that moment and create from that time space. And as you can see, I stood back here and looked at it and went, wow, that's a sunset, as you can see there. So I was like, okay, so he's standing in a sunset. So here we go with Merlin enters the room. Now, when I started painting Merlin, I could feel him really strongly behind me on my left side. And it was almost like he took my hand and he was painting himself. So I was a little bit nervous, I'm going to be honest, painting Merlin, because I haven't done much life-sized studies. And as you can see, this canvas is huge. I have never painted a life-size being on this scale of canvas ever. So I was really nervous as to whether I could pull this off. And at one point, I felt like giving up. However, Merlin came forward again and said, you can do this. You've been chosen to do this. And we wouldn't have chosen you if you could not have done this. So trust the process, live in the moment, and go with the flow. I will guide you. And I had to surrender to that. I had to surrender to that energy. And I'm glad that I did. Because if I got into my head, he maybe wouldn't have turned out the way that he turned out. So I just intuitively again fell into the colours that had to be used, the shading that had to be done. I did use a guideline because I like a visual. So I do research and I intuitively feel into that research, and I'm guided to a visual that has to be used on the canvas. So it's almost like Merlin looks at many pictures and goes, that's me, paint that. So that's what I was getting. And so I used a guideline here. So here I am building the foundation. So I always build layers within my paintings. I start off with a very basic foundation, as you can see, and then I start layering colours, and I'm guided to use guided to which colours to use on this painting. So I'm being really guided here as to the colours to use. And I had no idea what colour to do the eyes when I was doing this. I had no idea until it came to actually doing the eyes. And I heard the colour that had to be used and how that was going to look and how that had to be shaded and the detail that had to be put on there. So it's all being transmitted through me as I'm doing this painting. So as you can imagine, for that to be transmitted through me, I have to be in a very high vibrational space, but I also have to be grounded at the same time. So there's a lot of consciousness awareness with regards to these paintings as well, and that high flow of energy and that constant flow and transmission, you literally don't get a day off when you do these paintings. You don't get time for respite. There's constant information coming into the field, and when I'm creating these paintings, I'm constantly like feeling and being aware of information that's coming through me, whether that's things popping into my mind, visuals that I'm seeing, feelings, emotions. I'm constantly aware of this energy. It's just absolutely fascinating. I just find, when I watch back time lapses of these paintings, again, thank you Taylor Moon for this beautiful suggestion of recording the process. I love watching them back because I'm so much in a zone when I'm painting. I'm not fully aware of what's going on around me. I just know I have to go in and do this. So at this point here, I'm having a little bit of a panic, and this is when Merlin came forward and said, "Do you trust us?" Because I walked into the studio that morning and I was like, oh my god, he looks nothing like Merlin. He looks like Santa Claus with a black hat on, and been on a bender, if I'm honest. Like out the night before bender is the term we use in Scotland. He for getting very drunk the night before and having a hangover. And I was literally having a bit of a meltdown and questioning whether I could pull this off. And this is the very moment that I completely surrendered fully and just allowed Merlin to take over. And you'll see the magic that comes through Merlin in this painting. You will see this build up. You will see him forming on this canvas. It's such an amazing, phenomenal process that I find it hard to find the words to even explain. And I was really dubious here with regards to using black on his face. I'm like, why am I using black on his face? Why is he looking like this? But if you picture it, he's wearing a cloak. There's obviously shading there. And it's not going to be brown. It's going to have to be black. Because obviously, if you put a hood over your head, you're going to have like grey, black shading on your face, correct? So I was like, okay, let's just go with this process. How's it going to look? And even here, I didn't really see his face forming. I just thought I was building layers and layers and no shape was taken at all. And I stepped back many a time, which I've edited out of this video because it's time consuming. I stepped back, I don't know how many times, to constantly check on the process and receive information from Merlin as I'm doing this. This is what he wanted. This is how he was going to look. Now, I had the doodle of Merlin's power in my doodle book for the past 2 years. And I knew at some point I would be painting Merlin, but when, I don't know. I didn't have a clue when I'd be painting him. And what I found really interesting was that everything came together 2 years later with regards to the Spine of Albion, and doing research on the Spine of Albion, and then finding that there was a connection to the Spine of Albion with Merlin, and then creating Merlin as you see him. This is what Merlin wanted. This is very much him, and you can feel his energy within this painting. You can feel it. It's not, you know, oh, I've painted some bloke on a canvas. This is Merlin. And those who have experienced Merlin's energy have said that I very much have captivated him here. It's fascinating. So we're doing a bit of shading here. Now, I'm not the most tidiest of painters. There's paint brushes, paints all over the place. I'm sitting on paint. So I have particular clothes for painting, as you can see, because they're going to get covered. There he goes. You can start seeing it forming now. And I really was on a time scale here because this painting had to be finished for the 1010 portal, so I was constantly aware of time. Because I feel, I don't know how about you guys feel, but time is certainly speeding up in my reality. And between, you know, life, children, commitments, family, friends, I had all of that in the mix as well, doing this process. So I'm juggling many things here, and it blows my mind every time. And when I finished completing Merlin, the doubt that I once had, especially at the beginning of this painting, no longer existed. So I definitely had some sort of shift on an energy level with regards to my capabilities. Definitely. There we go, we're shading his mouth. Just being so consciously aware of what's going on. And there he goes, you can see him now. So I used a GoPro doing this. And what I find with the GoPros, their battery life isn't great, so I had to continually charge the GoPro, and that was a process in itself as well to make sure that I was getting the recording. So there were points and times that I had to charge the batteries, so it was very difficult to try and get the whole painting process in because it took a lot of time. What I find with the paintings is I really enjoy doing them. My favourite part of doing them would be the painting process, because you don't know what you're going to get on canvas. And like I was saying, I digressed, I apologise. The doodle of Merlin, I had this vision, and 2 years ago, and I was sure that that full vision was going to be completed on this painting. I'd went to the woods, fairy woods. I'd picked up 2 sticks, and I was adamant that they were going on this painting. However, when I started this painting, I heard no. The week before, there was information about the sword Excalibur. Merlin came forward and said, instead of 2 staffs like I had in my doodle book, you need to paint Excalibur, and this is what it's going to look like. So hence why Excalibur is there. It was guided by Merlin, and there's a huge connection between Merlin, Excalibur and Lady of the Lake. Now if you want to go and do your own research, certainly do, and intuitively feel into that. There are many different perspectives with regards to the history of Lady of the Lake and Merlin, which is absolutely fascinating. But all I know at this period in time is that there was to be only one staff on his left side and Excalibur on his right. So to look at the painting, Excalibur is on his left, but if you were to be Merlin, it would be on his right side, which is interesting because the left hand is your receiving hand of energy and your right hand is your sending hand of energy. So I found it really interesting that Excalibur was on the sending hand. So there's some frequency with regards to Excalibur being in this painting that's being put out into the collective. Now, it was guided to me with a beautiful session with Quantum and Taylor Moon that the paintings that I create have keys. You can quite clearly see the key within the geometric pattern. And this key unlocks a healing process. So there's definitely healing that comes from this painting and energy shifts and blocks. If any of the beautiful souls have been lucky enough to be within this beautiful painting, if I do say so myself, that had some sort of energy experience, please do share within the comments, because I think it's really important for beautiful souls that feel called to watch this to have a full understanding that this isn't just a painting or some woman just painting. This is something beyond humanity's knowledge. I find it so powerful. So again, I'm building foundations and layers. I'm doing shading. I used acrylic and gouache within this painting, a beautiful mix, and it was just so much flow with the paint. So the whole painting process of Merlin, if I can recall, took about 24 hours. I'd thought about it at the weekend and I'd missed out days. It wasn't until I was doing the time lapse of this video that I went, oh, I forgot about that and I forgot about that. So I worked it all out. So it was about 24 hours to paint Merlin. So it's a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of effort that go into these paintings. And I just find it so very important to get them done and out into the world for humanity, because they unlock keys. Now, I didn't know this until I had this session with our beautiful Taylor Moon. So and it was my Arcturian aspect that came forward and shared that information with me and shared how important it was to get these paintings done. So there are links in the description, and I'm not one for asking for support or help. However, I'm slowly learning. So I would really appreciate if you feel called, if you wanted to support me in creating these projects for humanity. If you'd like to support in any way or form, whether it's words of encouragement, whether it's a donation, whether it's an email, or purchasing a commissioned painting from myself, I would really, really like and appreciate your support. Because not only do these paintings help the collective, I can transmit energy specifically for an individual. So what happens there is I, with permission, tune in to your energy field. I give you a set date as to when I'm going to be doing that, so you are aware that I will be entering your energy field. And I just like with Merlin, I receive a geometric pattern for your specific energetic needs. I then put that onto canvas. I then am guided to crystals to use. Now it could be like certain specific crystals, or I'll receive information to use a crystal mix that I have used in one of these projects. So it really depends what your energy is needing at that moment in time. So I will then cleanse those crystals. I will set an intention. I use my own dragon energy, because I do work with dragon energy. So I use my own dragon energy to put into that crystals, as well as any modules I'm feeling called to put in regards to frequency into those crystals, and I will place them on your canvas. Then I will receive the visual that is required to help you shift, heal, transmute, process, upgrade for your energies. And again, I don't know what that's going to look like until I tune into your energy. So I am in your energy with your permission, obviously. I work on your painting, and then once complete, I send you a JPEG along with a light language transmission if you chose to receive, and then ask you to revoke your permission from me entering your field, because that's important. And when you receive your painting, you will definitely feel something from it. I would say, however, owning a print, which I have on my website of other paintings I've created in the past, still holds that frequency, still holds that power from the actual original painting. So what's interesting is my paintings are my grid systems, and my grid systems connect into many other things. Ley lines specifically, so there's an energetic responsibility here from myself to uphold that, to tune into that, and to continually flow with that. So the more that I create of these paintings, the more responsibility, energetic responsibility that I take on, especially if prints are purchased. However, this painting was created for an individual, which you will see at the end. Here you will see the reveal of this painting to this individual, and the joy of creating these paintings and giving them to their rightful owners, their rightful not owners, their rightful energetic guardian, shall we say? That's the better word, thank you. Energetic guardian. The joy on their face is just phenomenal, and I am so grateful that I can share that experience also with you today. The unveiling of this painting with that soul, and they share their experience, what they're feeling from the painting, so you can get a gauge as to how powerful these paintings are, whether it's a collective painting or it's your own energetic painting. So if you're feeling called, please have a look at my website. I would be grateful. Now there are only limited spaces because they take time and energy, as you can see. So I've only got a set amount of limited spaces. I do have few spaces left. So if you're feeling called, please, and feel that this is something that you feel that would help you on an energetic level, I would definitely get booked in. That's my phone. I would definitely get yourself booked in for your own energetic painting. And I have many various sizes, etc. I have 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters, or 30 centimeter by 30, or 40 by 40, or 50 by 50. However, if you wanted a huge painting like this, then what I would say is to email me, galarticbykerrymarie@gmail.com, to arrange that, obviously, because they're quite big. So this is a 150 centimeter by 100 centimeter canvas. I am in height 152 centimeters, so 2 centimeters short of my actual height. So as you can imagine, I was a little bit dubious as to whether I could do this. This is by far the largest painting I've ever created, and this is by far the most powerful painting, one of the most powerful paintings. This 3 paintings, this one included, has definitely went up a level. So as mentioned in previous videos, I said that I would be doing the next 2 projects would be the Tree of Life of Agartha, which would be on my website for sale once completed, and Seraphic Codes, which there has been a buyer for that already. So that has now changed, and I have to go with the divine flow. So the next project I am doing is the Arcturian Power and the beautiful Philip Joe, which is literally the birthright of GalArtic. He is an Arcturian being, an aspect of myself that came forward at the very beginning, and this is how GalArtic was created. So if you go back my videos, you will see Philip Joe. He's also on my logo for GalArtic. He's came forward and has asked me for the next project to paint Arcturian Power, which was explained to me would be a form of healing for those that are resonant with Arcturians to go through, and as far as I'm aware, that's to be created for the 1111 portal. So the visual that I've received for that, which could possibly change as I begin, is the Arcturian planet itself, which is absolutely beautiful. So we're doing Arcturian Power, and then we are doing Seraphic Codes. So there will be prints of those on my website. There will be prints of Merlin's Power. I am just waiting for a particular nice day to get a proper picture of Merlin in the light, because when he was created, the weather wasn't so great where I am in Scotland. Very cloudy, very dark, very rainy, so it was really hard to get Merlin in a nice natural light to get a proper picture for the print. So if you would like a print of Merlin, which will be up on my website shortly in divine time, please head over to my website www.galartic.com, and you will see at the bottom of the website subscribe to mailing list. If you enter your email details there, when the print has been created for Merlin's Power, I will be sending out a collective email to all the subscribers to make you aware that the print is now on the website, so you can go purchase a print. And that will be coming very soon. So as you can see, the flower of life there that is coming from our beautiful Merlin's beard, he said to me that that had to be painted gold, and there had to be gold thread, gold shading, because he emits this high frequency of gold. He also has a lot of silver within him as well. That duality. And I don't know if you noticed on the Celtic cross, there's almost a frequency of the Kundalini. The the duality like the caduceus coil. So if you go back and look at the finalized crystallized geometry, you will see the S pattern, which will assist with Kundalini energies, whatever that may look like for you. And I found it interesting because I feel like Merlin here is bringing some sort of duality for healing, and especially with the S shape on the Celtic cross, that caduceus coil, which again is linked into the ley lines on the spine of Albion, the male line and the female line. It's almost like a duality of all that you are, masculine, feminine, whatever that looks like for you. It's bridging a duality within you to step fully into that power, hence why it's called Merlin's power, because if you can look in his eyes, you can see that power, you can feel that power. It's almost like he's boring his eyes through your soul. So here I am painting Excalibur. Again, information's been transmitted through me. So there's light codes that I received to put on Merlin Excalibur, on the handle symbols, as well as on the sword blade itself. So it just blows my mind. I just find it fascinating. Just doing some more shading here. Fascinating. If you're hearing any gurgling noises, that is not my tummy, that is my fridge. My fridge likes to communicate. Bizarre. So, one of the symbols here is also the trifecta, which is the Syrian seal. So if you'd like to Google the trifecta, as well as the Celtic knot and the flower of life, you will get a gauge as to what that frequency is for you. But the Celtic cross was very much used by the Picts and the Syrian times. Just fascinating watching this back. And you'll probably notice with his hands were certainly a challenge. I'm not very good at doing hands at all. So I was a little bit nervous about doing his hands. And it wasn't until I actually finished that it was a beautiful soul that pointed it out to me. And I was like, oh my goodness. So you'll see he only has 4 fingers on the staff, however his thumb is behind the staff. But on Excalibur he has 2 pointy fingers. Somebody pointed that out to me. Now I thought I'd maybe made an error, however it transpires that no, I haven't made an error. This is what Merlin wanted, this is his true form, and he had those fingers for a specific reason. Which hasn't been shared with me, but they are meant to be there. It is not an error if you've picked up on it. So here I am using mica powder, so I like using a mica powder as well on my paintings because it brings this lustrous glow. Just fascinating. Wow. And the shading I found really quite challenging, and I was noticing bits that I'd missed and bits that needed to be done, and in my third eye I was like, how would that look? How would that flow? Where would the edges be? So I had to trust. And when I was doing this, it almost feels like it's like an anime version of Merlin, because of the detail, because of the colours that had to be used. I've never painted anything anime in my life either. Never. I don't have an art degree. This is solely on intuition. I hadn't picked up a paintbrush in 20 years, and the first time I'd picked up a paintbrush again was in 2021. So if you ever have doubt or believe within yourself that you don't have the capability to do what it is that you want to do, please, if you're feeling called to pick up a paintbrush, or if you're feeling called to write poetry, don't worry about what others think. Just follow your intuition and go through with it, because I am just so grateful that I listened to that burning within my soul to get paintbrushes and paint. Because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be sharing this video with you today. So we're almost at the end here of Merlin's Power, and I am now going to share with you the reveal of Merlin to the beautiful soul that received, as well as the activation. And here you are. Merlin's Power is complete. Wow. Epic. Okay, beautiful souls, so here is the reveal of the painting to the beautiful soul that is now the energetic guardian of Merlin's Power, the beautiful Thomas Mueller. I am going to up the audio of this video, and you will get the pleasure of hearing our beautiful Thomas revealing this painting. Thank you.
Round the back as well.
Wait. Hang on.
Got to open at the back too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going on here.
You managing now?
Can you hold it? Hold it.
How many men to fix it?
Are you ready?
Oh my god.
Reveal.
Oh my god.
Holy crap. Lift it at the top. Oh my god. Oh wow. Whoa.
Oh, his eyes.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit.
Put your foot on the bottom part.
Oh, no.
Oh my god. Oh, God, the eyes.
Oh man. That's like, he's like a real mystic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm looking at all
I
the
love
different
it.
elements in there.
That's so
Wonderful,
cool.
isn't
It's beautiful.
Over there, Thomas?
Oh, gosh.
Whoa, that's
Oh,
really
my
damn cool.
I'm just stunned.
Wow.
Is that the sacred geometry there? Yeah. Oh, it's
Celtic cross on there.
yeah.
Suddenly got very cold.
I've got the shivers, yeah.
kind of cold, breezy
That
shiver.
yeah.
Like even when I touched it without touching it, it was like this. Oh my god, it was stunning. The eyes. Thank you, genius.
You're welcome.
How cool is that?
It's beautiful. It really is.
It's you. It looks like you,
It
Thomas.
looks like Thomas. Yeah, it does.
So now you will watch the activation of Merlin from our beautiful Thomas Mueller. I felt called that Thomas had to activate an aspect of this painting as he is a fractal of Merlin himself. So please witness the magic and enjoy. Well, beautiful souls, if you've made it this far, I just hope you have enjoyed this whole guided process of the creation of Merlin's power. Again, if you've enjoyed this, please support my channel by liking and subscribing, as well as sharing either the time lapse or this video on your social media platforms, because the more that we can get these paintings out into our collective, the more we can help heal all our brothers and sisters. Again, if you feel called, please check out my website, GalArtic. There are prints there. If you would like a Merlin print, please don't forget to pop your email into the subscribers list, as well as if you're feeling called for your own energetic transmitted painting, please head on over and book your painting, shall we say. And with that, thank you so much for all your love and support. If you want to support my creation process, GalArtic, there are donation links within the description box. Any donation is much appreciated because they go towards materials for creating these projects. So I just want to thank you all. Have a beautiful day of heaven and earth, and I love you.